Ayman Khan here for Seconds Out with the incomparable Ariel Helwani. Ariel, I feel like the smoke is coming off of you, not from the heat of the Nando's, but the role that you've been on. Myself and my good friend Donna Corby were saying you're killing it right now in the game. How you doing, sir?
Well, what an intro. The best one of the day so far. Tremendous glasses, by the way. I always feel like you guys should be on the other side of the camera. I don't know why you boxing guys like to be on this side or the UK media. In any event, Donna Corby, legend. Where's he from? Is he from Blanchardstown?
He's from
Blanchardstown.
Yeah, I think
in Dublin. I know my Dublin. So he's a legend, as are you. Great to be here. By the way, when I was an intern at HBO Sports in 2003, I used to have to go on Seconds Out and print all the news and then put it into a little packet and go around to all the producers and executives at HBO and give it to them, the news of the day in boxing. And so I have great affinity for Seconds Out.
It sounds like all the best guys come through Seconds Out. And speaking of people who are on a roll, LA Knight is certainly on a roll. Look, a lot of the fans have taken to him and see a trajectory that he can smash through any sort of glass ceiling. Do you see the same trajectory for him?
Sure. It's been a slow build, right? He's 40 and he's been in the game for 20 years, and it's only been this crazy 3-month explosion. So it's a great story. I feel like historically they don't pull the trigger on these stories at this juncture. They let it wait a little bit, and so he is not my pick for tomorrow's Money in the Bank. Not because I don't think he deserves it. I think it would be a great story, but because I think they'll go with Logan Paul. My prediction is, and I have no inside information, my prediction is Logan Paul wins via help from KSI. KSI was, at WrestleMania. It would make all the sense in the world for him to be here at this one. But again, that is not a spoiler. That is just a prediction. I could be very wrong, but I feel like they're going to try to capitalize on KSI and Logan Paul's fame here in the UK.
It sounded very much like Paul Heyman with a prediction, well, the spoiler, not prediction, but the other way around, I guess, at this time round. We'll get to Logan Paul in a moment, but I want to talk to you about, storylines, obviously pivotal in wrestling, and I believe WWE made a conscious effort to make sure they keep continuity with storylines. This Bloodline storyline is very hot right now, and I think off of the back of that storyline, the viewership has increased, and maybe WWE is hot again. It's cool again to watch WWE. Do you feel that that's because of this Bloodline storyline that's going on right now?
This and the other storylines as well. But yes, this is far and away one of the best storylines in the history of WWE, because there's been so many layers and ups and downs. First you think it's going to end, at first it feels like it's going to end 3 years ago at Elimination Chamber, and then it becomes a thing, and then you think it's going to end maybe with Drew, and then you think it's going to end with Sammy, and then you think it's going to end with Cody, and then you think it's going to end now, and it's maybe there's still The Rock to come. I don't know. There's a whole other layer that we could get to as well. So I think it's been incredible, and I've just been so impressed with their performance, as performers, right? Especially the Usos. They've obviously always been one of the great tag teams in wrestling history and WWE history, but I don't know if a lot of people knew they had this in them, right? That next level, that ability to connect with the audience on an emotional level. And so it's been really fun. I'm excited for the main event. Typically, I don't love tag team non-title main events on pay-per-views or PLEs. This one feels different. It feels special. I'm very, very into it.
Just jumping back in with that. Celebrity matches, you mentioned Logan Paul, and celebrity matches, it seems like they've really taken a turn. I remember back in the day, and more than a few WrestleManias ago, Snooki came in and she wasn't received that well in her celebrity match. But now it seems like every celebrity that comes in, Bad Bunny, Logan Paul, whoever it is really kind of taken to it. Yeah. Why do you think, this crop of celebrities who've come in have really kind of smashed it recently? 2
reasons. Number one, I think they care. I think they're putting in the work. I think they're not just showing up for a payday or for fun. They actually respect the craft. And number two, I think WWE is picking the right people. Snooki's not an athlete, with all due respect. Logan Paul looks like an athlete and certainly has ability and trains like one. And I'm sure they did their due diligence with Bad Bunny as well. So he was a revelation. He was unbelievable. And that walkout, that pop in Puerto Rico, I watched that probably 30 times. That was incredible. So I think they're just picking the right people, and I think they're making sure that those people actually care and will put in the time and work and effort in order to have the best product. They make it look so easy. Pat McAfee as well. He was incredible. So very, very impressive the way these people have come in and taken to it so quickly.
Would Ariel Helwani take to it very quickly?
I think I would be a good manager. I don't think I would be like old school. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking Bobby the Brain Heenan style, Mr. Fuji, Slickster. Classy Freddie Blassie, Paul Heyman. I love a good manager. I wish there were more managers in the game. I feel like I could cut a great promo on behalf of my guy or girl or client. And I think I could also hang as the third man in the booth or second man, the heel announcer. I've never wanted to be the babyface announcer or the play-by-play guy, but I enjoy, Helwani. I enjoy that aspect of it, and I think I could do well at it. Other people might think that I'm insane for saying that, but as far as the wrestling is concerned, happy to take a bump or two, but I don't think I could do all the flipping around and all that stuff.
Now, if your prediction comes to reality tomorrow and Logan Paul does claim the Money in the Bank ladder match win, the briefcase, do you feel there will be that sense of backlash from the fans? Look, like I've said and you've said, that the celebs are coming in and smashing it right now. Do you think they'd understand, or do you think there'll still be some of the hate towards it if he did claim it?
Well, Logan is on the roster. I know he's not an active wrestler per se, but he is on the roster and, has had some matches now, and I feel like he has the respect of the audience to a degree. Maybe not the same as an LA Knight who has put in 20 years. So it's kind of interesting. Like, do they go with the guy who's been in the game for like a year or 20 years? So we'll see what happens. But overall, listen, I thought they would ride in Montreal if Sami Zayn lost, and they didn't. I thought they would ride in Cardiff or in LA for Cody. So, it's not like, listen, if LA Knight was from England, I think it would be a little bit different, personally. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't know if there's that same... They're probably going to cheer for him like crazy and want him to win and will him to victory. Wrestling fans love to sink their teeth into an underdog, if you will, and then say, like, we got that guy over. Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, right? Like, they say, like, we're going to will this guy to the top. And I think they're doing it now, trying to do it now with LA Knight. I just don't know if it happens just yet.
In the boxing sphere, and sticking with wrestling, it's very much quiet, especially if you look at the top, at the heavyweight division, the glamour division. Tyson Fury keeps teasing an announcement. Apparently there's a game-changing announcement coming forward. Is a game-changing announcement something to do with WWE, potentially?
I did not think of that. The only thing to me that would be a game-changer would be him versus Francis Ngannou. The lineal heavyweight boxing champion against the lineal heavyweight MMA champion. That, to me, is the only game-changer. Any fight in boxing is not a game changer. If it's him versus Usyk, if it's him versus Joshua, if it's a one night like 3 heavyweight fight like in fight card in Saudi Arabia, that's not a game changer. The only thing that would be a game changer is Ngannou, and I don't know right now where that stands. So I don't think wrestling. I mean, we've seen him do a little bit of wrestling as well, and that wasn't necessarily a game changer. So I would be surprised if it's wrestling related.
Well, let me spitball with you for a moment. Logan Paul claims the Money in the Bank briefcase tomorrow night. Stephanie McMahon, in the back end of last year, was reported as being interested in promoting boxing and, tidying up, as she said, the promotional game. Maybe they work something out where Logan Paul takes on Tyson Fury, who've both called each other out in the past, potentially even for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Some sort of crazy crossover there.
You think fans would want that? I don't know if fans want that out of Tyson.
Is that game-changing?
Not really, because we've seen Logan fight Floyd. I mean, it would definitely be left field. That is a crazy one. And the craziest part about it is Stephanie's involvement, because I feel like she's just chilling, like happy to be out of the limelight. So it's definitely different, but is like what game is being changed by that? Honestly, like those are strong words from Frank Warren. It's very hard to change any game with a single fight or idea. So we'll see, but I'm trying not to get my hopes up too much because it's been a lot of back and forth, and it kind of gets annoying after a while.
In the world of Eddie Hearns, Frank Warrens, Al Haymans and others, Ben Shalom's and others, how do you think Stephanie McMahon would do in a boxing promotional game?
I think she'd be fantastic. She's one of the most impressive people that I've ever met, and I've only met her essentially once, and it was for like a 10-minute conversation. And what impresses me most about her is what everyone says about her. Everyone speaks so highly of her and is so enamored with her and is so respectful of her and is so there's so much positivity surrounding her. Like you never hear at least people that I talk to, you never hear anyone talk any sort of negativity about her. So I think she would be great. And also, I mean, just like the naturals, there's not that many women promoters in combat sports. So that's, obviously very unique. But I thought it was a big blow when she left. And I know a lot of the performers, the wrestlers, really admire and respect her. And I'd love to see her, like, maybe she starts her own production company. Maybe she does what you're talking about. Maybe she comes back at some point. But I think that we are worse off without her around, because she just brings like a good vibe, it seems like, backstage, and everyone really seems to like truly want to like go to battle for her. She also seems like a great family woman as well. That was the conversation, by the way, the only conversation I've ever had with her. I've tried to get an interview with her, and I don't know if it will happen now, but it was about just like being a parent, which was pretty damn cool. So that would be great. I don't know if it seems like you have some inside information, but sign me up. If that's it, sign me up.
We'll talk about it off camera. Keeping with the women, it feels like rewinding back several years. The women's revolution really kind of kicked things off for women getting the spotlight in sports. In general, we've seen that kind of bleed over through here many years later. But you and I were there for Katie Taylor vs Chantal Cameron, a main event title fight, which had a lot of spotlight on it over on Sky Sports. They did an all-female card, and this weekend as well, Savannah Martian takes on Franchon Cruz de Zone for the undisputed titles. Can we pinpoint like that kind of movement here, originating at the WWE, that kind of revolution and bleeding down to other sports?
Got to give credit to UFC on that one. I think that bringing over the women finally, I mean, look, they popularized it and really put it on the mainstream, but even before that, it was Strikeforce and Elite XC and MMA with Gina Carano. Gina is the one that started it to me. She like really took women's combat to a different level, and then it was Ronda, and then it was Ronda coming over to the UFC, and then that opened the floodgates for the likes of Miesha Tate and Kat Zingano and Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko and Rose Namajunas, Alexa Grasso now, et cetera, et cetera. And I think boxing saw what the UFC was doing and said, like, we need to get with the times. We need to open things up, and that led to the likes of Katie and so many others. And I love what they're doing in women's boxing. Like, it's almost like every time we see a championship fight, it's a unification battle. Like, they're all fighting each other. There's no ducking. There's no nonsense. There's no back and forth. Just look at what Katie did and what she's trying to do now in the rematch. And as you mentioned, like Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields, Alicia Baumgartner is really impressive as well, Michaela Mayer and many others. So I'm a big fan of women's combat sports, whether it's MMA, boxing, pro wrestling, and it's nice to see them finally get the respect that they deserve.
And on a couple of final things, a lot of talk about this, and you're very welcome to pick the obvious, but who are your current Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart / Shawn Michaels of this generation?
Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, and Shawn Michaels. Why do you pick those three, by the way? Like,
they're kind of the more, when it comes to the wrestling public, they kind of highlight those two distinctions. One's the real champion that brings in the tickets, the other one's the workhorse.
Yeah. I would say the champion would be Roman Reigns, the Hogan would be Roman Reigns, and I would say that the Bret Shawn, like the one that the hardcores love, man, doozy. Like, the first one that kind of came to mind was Gunther, because he's, I feel like he's very technical and kind of old school, but I feel like there might be a better answer there.
Seth Rollins, that'd be my pick.
Seth Rollins, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
A couple of years ago, I think Bret Hart picked him as being that guy. It might have been someone else, but I'm pretty sure it was Bret Hart. Do you feel he's fulfilled that potential, or do you think there's more to reach for from Seth Rollins?
I think he has fulfilled it, and I also think there's more to reach. That was one of my favorite sit-downs last year in Cardiff with him, and I'm very happy that he got the belt. And that's another guy that you could have said, like, oh, he could have been the one to beat Roman. Yeah. What a performer. And, like, he's had so many different acts where you're like, oh, maybe now he's going to hit the ceiling. And then he, like, reinvents himself. And maybe now he reinvents himself. I'm a huge fan of his. He's so impressive. And so dynamic and so much fun to watch, like his mannerisms and the laughing and the entrance and all that. What a couple those two are, him and Becky. So talented in so many different ways. And yeah, I'm a big fan. That is the one. That he is that guy for sure.
Final thing I want to touch on, and it feels like if you can kind of get everything sorted, he'd be perfect for this sphere, that being Conor McGregor. I spoke to him in Ireland and I said to him, look, would you fight Canelo? A clip that went viral maybe for different reasons. Yeah. And he said, look, I'll take him on no something problem. Is he perfect for the sphere, and is he going to be fighting Michael Chandler? It doesn't seem like it'll be this year, maybe next.
Yeah, maybe next. Honestly, I'm not ruling out this year. It's still only June 30th. I would be shocked before it's all said and done he doesn't do something in WWE. They're under the same umbrella now, right? Endeavor owns both or is about to own both. When he came in my studio in March, I actually had the Money in the Bank briefcase on the ground, and he wanted to take a picture with it. He was like so excited to see the money. He's like, wow. And he asked his guy to take the picture with the Money in the Bank. So I think he's a proper fan. He's talked about, watching The Rock and Stone Cold back in the day. So cameo something, I would be shocked. I don't know if it happens tomorrow, next month, next year, but before it's all said and done, it would be very surprising if he doesn't do something.
This interview is said and done. Ariel, real pleasure speaking to you. Thanks for speaking to Seconds Out, sir. All the best.